Welcome back to another web development video where I show you how to make modern websites using HTML5, CSS3, and a little bit of JavaScript. In this video, we're going to jump back into Mobirise, and I thought we would just do sort of a practical example of making an events website or a conference website. This would be a really good use case for Mobirise if you just need a one-page landing page for your event or whatever you're doing. We're just going to be using the the default Mobirise theme, and let's see what we can do. So first we want to jump in and grab a header, and let's also sort of make a decision on a footer as well. And I want something sort of basic, kind of like this. So we have our header and our footer. And then now let's decide sort of what goes in between. We're going to use this sort of original full screen intro here. I'll have to switch these around. And what else? We want maybe a pricing table for tickets. If you have different pricing levels for your tickets. We want a countdown. Countdown is going to show us sort of how long until the event begins. And not a counter. Just trying to think of some of the things that we might need. Maybe we have a video here that shows a little bit more about what the conference is about, and let's put a little text to be an intro maybe for that video, or maybe the text will go underneath, and we can put a header here. We'll just have to see about that. I think this block here is going to have some sort of title to it, but we'll have to see. We want a way for people to contact us. So let's come down here, maybe something simple like this. And we'll also put a map. That way people can find the venue. Maybe a little feature section about the venue itself. We need to include something where people can go off to the website, or they can book a reservation for a hotel, something like that. So let's go with, this here, and I think that'll be okay for now. We'll decide whether we need more information or not as we go along. So we got all of our blocks. Let's go ahead and move this footer. Let's drag it down to the bottom. Okay, like that. So now our footer is properly at the bottom of our page, but you can see that we have quite a nice little website going just as far as it goes. So let's just go ahead and start customizing this a little bit. I don't want to show the logo, but I do want to show the brand name. And we can go in here and we'll just make a little something up there. We'll call it this conf. And we have sort of an about. This maybe is more of an about section here, and then we have tickets, and then we have the venue, and then we have a contact. Okay, so let's just go ahead and put these up here into our top section, our navigation. So about, tickets, we'll add an item, venue, and contact. So let's put those up there. We're actually going to hide this button, I think. And we'll just go ahead and make this transparent. And then the items color, these items are going to be, let's just make them white. Okay. So that's going to give us a nice hover effect, and they're white. And this one over here is going to need to be white as well. And while we're at it, we can make this just a little bigger. Our title H3 case. Okay, this is all using a font called Rubik. I want to use something maybe a little bit different. So we can come over and we can change our fonts. We can look for Google fonts, or there's fonts that are already been added to the website, and that would be Rubik has been added. But let's go with something I really like Mealy. Okay, and we could just add that, excuse me, to each of our different parts of the website. One thing on typography is start with one font and then work from there. So we have one font, but it's in different sizes here. So start with that, see how far that gets you. If you absolutely need another font, that becomes a kind of a tricky situation to figure out what goes with what. There's a website that I use all the time called TypeWolf, I think typewolf.com, and he has lots of good suggestions for pairing different typefaces, and he does a lot of grabbing screenshots of typefaces in the wild, sort of that are being used on websites already. So looking at what people have already used will help you to use fonts well, because you can use similar or the same font pairings. And then once you figure out why are they putting those two things together, that can help you to make your own choices later on. So we have our header section here. Everything looks good. This is a parallax header, so the background is moving at a different speed than the text, which I think is a nice it's a nice effect. You can also take off the overlay. This can still be seen pretty well because this is a kind of a darkish area of the background image. It's probably fine. So we're going to say and this would be sort of our event title, right? So we're going to cover marketing in a new century. So that would be it. This one, we're going to say purchase tickets. And this one is going to be learn more. And so we're going to, I know that these are two different cases. I did that on purpose. This one should be drawing less attention to itself than this one. And then this would just be, you know, filler text if you wanted to do that. So we have tickets and about, we have our venue, we have our contact information. So let's just go ahead and set these up while we're here. These links, if you click on the page tab here, then it gives you an option to do an anchor link. Now an anchor link is a link on the same page, like to a different section of the same page. And when you click something and you scroll down to it, sort of animated scrolling, that's what's happening. So we're going to scroll the About section to the top of our About section, which would be here, our header. It's nice that you have this little we have this little image out here. You see the fly out to the right to let you know where you're going. And our ticket section is going to be right here. Our venue section will be a little bit farther down the page here. And then finally our contact section. We'll just send them to the top of the contact, like where our actual contacts are. And there's also going to be a map there, so it's sort of, you know, the contact section. Can we bold that? That's already bold. Okay. So marketing a new century, purchase tickets. Let's go ahead and link this up too. So this is going to be connected to our ticket section, which is going to be here. And then the learn more will go to our about section, which is here. So those are all linked up and ready to go. I don't like the arrow really, because I think that most people know just to instinctively start scrolling. If you like the arrow, you can keep it. And our primary color, what do we want to do? So marketing, let's do blue and like blue and yellow. Something like that. We'll do blue. Maybe this one is yellow. Okay, so we come to our counter. All I really want is this section here. So I'm just going to sort of get rid of these things. I don't want to show the title or the subtitle. I just want this stuff. And let's bring this up a little bit. Maybe like that. And you can see that it gives us a date. Now we got to set the date in the future. So what is it? It's April. Let's say this is May, right? So May 1st, 2020, because of social distancing, we can't actually do this, but if we were, then we have this nice little counter here, and we can actually, I think we can remove these. If we don't want to keep them there, we could remove them, but let's just go ahead and do these underneath. You can change the color of the labels. Maybe we do our brand colors here, or let's do let's change the background color to the blue, and then we can do white for the numbers and yellow for underneath. How about that? That's better. Getting kind of a funky something going on there. Just make sure we cinch that up a little. Anytime you ever want to check your mobile styling, you can do that. To change that a little. I don't think there's anything here. Just trying to see if there's something that's underneath, like bothering that. Okay. Well, let's move on here. So this is going to be basically about this comp 2020, and then we're going to take off this subtitle. Don't need that. I just want a background color, and we'll just make that white like the background. Now our text is going to need to be a different color, and let's play with the padding a little bit, a little more on top, a little less on the bottom. That way these two things feel like they go together. We're going to have a video here, and we need to go ahead and deal with the spacing here as well, like that. And then this would just be obviously a blurb about the conference. Let's see, does this have something? Let's say something like that, just to let people know. That it begins soon. And color here needs to be white. We can even do this in bold. Not crazy about that timer, that countdown. Is there another one? Get this one here. Yeah, just not my favorite countdowns. So we might wind up just sort of axing that section. It's not completely and totally necessary to have that. I've just noticed that some conference sites, event sites have this sort of thing. So we'll make a decision on cutting that a little bit later. Here, you need some more padding there, just to help it. You want to try to equal the space there and there, but it's there's quite a bit of space here and here, so we have sort of small, medium, and large, and that's something definitely good to have when you're thinking about spacing. We have our tickets here, so we have our different tickets. We'll say early bird. Standard. And then latecomers. We can go ahead and do this. You might want to connect if you're doing what would you be doing? Like a third-party event site that sells your tickets for you. You might want to connect this to that third-party site. If you need purchase options with more options to them, you can probably find those. Let's see. Some of these might actually have more options for you as far as the pricing tables are concerned. So if you need a little bit more explanation, or you want more sort of text or something like that in the middle, these are probably going to give you a little bit better, more options just here in the parameters. This doesn't give you a lot of options in the parameters. So let's just go ahead and do, what does yellow look like? Maybe blue. And we can make these yellow. So we're sort of sticking to our brand colors, making sure that we're being consistent with our branding all the way across the website. And we can even make these bold. And then this is going to be our venue, right? So venue. We can even say conference venue, and we'll say book a reservation, and learn more. Okay, so these are just little tabs. That was not what I was looking for. I was looking for something a little different than that. So maybe that's in the features. This one might work. Sometimes the thing you're trying to do is just get, you want to look for things that, a block that has the things that you need. So these blocks are not particularly specific. They're sometimes very generalized, and so they can be purposed for lots of different things, you know, depending on what your information is. So we're going to use this one instead because it just has a couple of buttons. That's what we need. This is a tab. You can see that this is switching every time. That's not what I was looking for. I was looking for just something that we could link off to the venue itself. So we say conference venue. The Hyatt Regency, I don't know, Denver, who knows. And then a little bit of information about the hotel itself, and then you can book. Book a reservation. And get more details. So you have these sort of call to action buttons that you can do, and then we can change the background here to something a little bit more hotel. So let's see. There was one up here. I thought might be appropriate. Maybe this one. And just go with this one. And you would obviously want to choose something from the venue that you had. I misspelled conference. We won't say venue, we'll say yeah, that'll be fine. We should choose a different picture though, because if it's the conference venue, that should be the inside, like where we're actually having the conference, right? Yeah, I don't know, something like this. A little be okay. So we have our details here. If you want to do the overlay, you can. You can see that it makes quite a bit of difference. Again, we have the parallax effect, which is kind of cool. You can decide the opacity, like if you want it to be a little darker. Oh, not that dark. A little darker, or a little brighter. You can decide that yourselves. And I'm okay with the dark. And you can even choose the overlay color. So if we do our blue or our yellow, you can see how that changes. That sort of changes the tone. Changes the tone of that particular section, but it makes this washed out and a little bit more difficult to deal with. If you do white, same thing. So you're looking for a dark color here. So it could be a version of the blue that you do, but up against this blue, that's probably going to be a little bit too much. So if that's what you really want to do, then you're going to want to come and make this maybe a light gray or something like that, so that you don't have a bunch of competition as far as color is concerned. And you might even want to change this to our yellow color, just so that it pops off of this page a little bit more. You can see these things are popping off the page. We can be consistent here and just go back and do these as yellow. And the blue looks bad, so let's do white. Okay, so just for the sake of consistency, we can do this blue or yellow with a bold. So I'm just doing Control B for bold. Same thing here. And with the details. So that gives us some consistency when the user is going down the page. They're not seeing all different colored buttons. If you see different colored buttons, that often it means either you're sloppy with your UI, or it means that each different button means something different. Maybe one is an internal link, one is a form, one is a something else. But when I see you color, it looks like you're color coding your buttons. So if that's what you're doing, that's what you should do. But if you want all the buttons to sort of mean the same thing, then you should give them all the same color. So we want to be consistent. Consistency is part of design. Let's go ahead and make this a little bit darker. That. And we have contact information. And so you would just inlay your address, phone number, and email. And then for the map section, you actually just want to put in it says you can type an address, or you can insert a Google Map iframe. And when you click on that little link, it tells you how to go to Google Maps and get the information that you need, and then be able to put that in there. So if we go off, and we say Hyatt Regency Denver, and they're temporarily closed because of the coronavirus, but we have their address here. You can even copy it. So it copies it to the clipboard. We can bring it back and we can just paste that in here, and we update it, and then now it should update our map to show us this is where the Hyatt Regency is in Denver, and it says, you know, use control to scroll, and you can use these to zoom, just to let you know we are in Denver. I don't know, it doesn't let you decide your zoom levels and things like that, but it does offer the user to see a larger map or directions to actually go off to Google. And this Google Maps has gotten a lot better over the years, so now when you scroll, you don't get stuck on the map. You have to use 2 fingers to scroll the map. So It's actually improved quite a bit compared to what it used to do. Because it used to be when you would scroll like this over the top of the map, it would actually just start scrolling the map. So you can kind of have no fear to use that as opposed to before when it was not so good. I'm going to change this to title 2 so that it matches this, and also going to do bold. And I do think I want to get rid of this, so just pare that down a little bit. And we're almost there. We have our footer section left. I do want to show the copyright. I like this reveal effect. I'll show you what it does in just a minute. Maybe we only need a couple of icons, or you could go with 0 if you did not want to put your social media in here. But I think it's a good idea to have, if you're doing an event, you should have some sort of hashtag or social media presence. Could do without these. Is there a better footer? We'll just see if there's a better footer. Maybe this one is a better footer, because I don't really want the menu. And I know that with this one I can turn the menu items off basically, and I can just control these items a little bit more. Background color maybe is just a light gray, or we could do our blue color. That might be a nice ending to everything. Okay, and then when you come in here to your social media, you can choose which icons that you're going to do that, and then you would put your link, whatever website you were linking to, you would put that link right here. So if you wanted instead to do LinkedIn, or you wanted to do something else. Okay, so we have everything here that we need, and we could change our stuff down here to 2020. And this conf. Okay, I think that's what we got here. Let's go ahead and check it out in the browser, and then we'll see if there's any adjustments that need to be made. So we have our logo up here. We have all of our different menu options. These are theoretically going to work. When we come down, and this is a little bit about it, when you click on the video, it just plays right here inside of the it's an iframe video. We got a little bit about, you know, you want a little bit of copy on here just so that Google will index it, hopefully. And then maybe we'll change this here to, that looks like the same heading 1. Let's change that to a heading 2, so we'll just kind of catalog that in our minds. Now these are going to be our tickets, and we have our conference venue, so you can book a rotation or a reservation and get more details. These links would go off this page to the conference venue site, to the Hyatt Regency Denver. And then we would input our own contact information here. Obviously, if you had, you know, dedicated email, phone, whatever you needed to do. You might even be able to change these to put your social media, so contact us on Facebook or whatever. You have your map, which is fully functional. You know, you can zoom in here and look at the area that's all around. And then we have our social media links down here. So like I said, let's go in and we'll just change this to a little bit smaller. Right now it's a title 1, and really I want that to be 2. This is a 1, And this really should be the first thing that gets indexed. So this is what the whole page is about, right? And honestly, we could change this image to something a little bit more interesting. Let's see if we can find a better conference picture. This one is okay, maybe. We'll have to see. Just trying to go through very quickly and see if there's a conference picture that just sort of gives us the look and feel of what we're looking for. What is it? When you search for different images, you're going to come up with things that are like ancillary a little bit. So conference, maybe that one. So conference call, conference whatever, you know, it's just going to be a little bit different. That's not exactly what we're looking for. So let's look, what was the one I said? This one. Okay, maybe something like this. Something that's sort of big and sweeping and shows what you're doing all together. Okay, so I'm pretty satisfied with where that is right now. You would obviously want more content. The only thing else that I might suggest adding is adding something for speakers. So let's just grab this one here and we'll put that here because that kind of goes with the about section. And what we want to do is make sure that we say these are our speakers. And I want to hide this subtitle text. And you can decide, you know, do you want to show their names or their roles or social media? You can get rid of the card background. So there's a few different things that you can change here. Let's see, the yellow, and you know, you would come up here and you would say CMO of Facebook, and this is the marketing coordinator of Twitter, and this is the CEO of LinkedIn. So it's a pretty high-powered conference that we got going on here. And then you can decide about their social media. You can decide how many cards. So this one allows you to have 4 cards. You could do 1 or 3. Let's just do 4. You can decide how many social media icons, and we'll just do their main 2 icons. And then obviously you can come through and change the colors of the background of this particular section. Let's just stick with background color of white. It'll be fine. And so now we have our speakers here. If you want to get that space back here, you can just take this and delete it, and I think you'll be able to get your space back in between these. So whenever we look at our website now, we're actually going to have our speakers down here. So you can see you get that space back a little bit. And all of these, you know, they're not links to anywhere, but we would have all of our social media links for those people. And then even up here we can, that's part of the about section is the speakers. So you could keep this all together, or you could add a particular section up here that says speakers, let's go ahead and do that. So we click on one of these and then we just add an item right afterwards, and we say speakers, and then we want to link to that section, and that would be our team. So then when we go and look at the website online, if we click on speakers, it goes and takes us straight down to our speakers section. So we sort of have everything that we need for a basic conference website. This could be jazzed up a little bit more. It could be made a little bit more designy. But if you do need to get something up kind of quickly, you need to make sure that you have all the different elements for your conference on here. You know, these are going to be the basics of every conference website that you see. And once you get a little bit more familiar with which blocks are available, and once you do your homework as far as what do we want to say, what's the message, I'm just using the photos that they give us, but you know, you would hopefully have your own photos that you're using if you're doing an event or a conference, and then you could take those and make it a little bit more stylized toward whoever you are by choosing the appropriate font, applying a logo up here, and just some little sort of touches that make it a little bit more like whatever your organization is or whatever your conference or event is called. But this kind of gives you an overview of how you can just use, this is just the base Mobirise 4 theme. There are more specific themes for conferences if you want to look into those, and hopefully this is helpful to you. Just seeing how to sort of move through and choose the blocks and then manipulate the blocks the way that you want them to. If you have any suggestions for different ways of doing showing you Mobirise, if this isn't very helpful, then help me by letting me know. You know, it'd be more helpful if I could see you do this. So, because I don't always know, this is pretty low-leveled, like drag and drop kind of thing. So once you get the mechanics of it, then it becomes about, you know, how can I make this look the way I want it to look? So I'm just trying to get you familiar with how you can take the different sort of standard blocks from Mobirise and make it into something that looks like your normal everyday website, like someone went and hand coded a website for you, and then just showing you how different things work together as far as typography, color, design, and then how you can bring those elements into Mobirise. So if you'd like to see a different direction, I'm definitely happy to go in a different way. I have access to the HTML code editor, so if you want to see a little bit more of that, I'm happy to show that too. Just leave comments or suggestions down in the comment section, and I'll get back to them as quickly as I can. Please share the video if it's been helpful to you, or if you think that other people on your team might be served by watching my videos about Mobirise. And also, if you want to pay it forward, just click the thumbs up button. It doesn't seem like a lot, but Google really likes the thumbs up. So that lets the algorithm know this is a worthwhile video. People are liking it. So click that thumbs up, and that helps me out. And also, if you haven't subscribed, I got lots of Mobirise videos. Maybe half of my channel has been built on Mobirise, and so there's lots of good things in different video playlists, and I'm sort of renewing my commitment to do a little bit more Mobirise video tutorial and things like this, where I'm going through how to use the website. It's been a while, maybe a couple of versions really, since I've done much with Mobirise, although I've been helping people who have questions on the videos that I've posted before. And again, if you have suggestions, please let me know. But click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, and you'll get notified whenever I have new videos that I post. And so maybe 1 or 2 a week is my typical schedule, depending on what my actual work schedule is. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.